Do you remember how outraged some of the film writers were? They said, how dare you take John F. Kennedy and put Forrest Gump in there? You mean, how can we lie in movies? That's all movies are.
I have some kind of virus, and the doctors they don't know what it is, and there isn't anything they can do about it.
I'll take care of you if you're sick.
Would you marry me, Forrest?
That clip cuts to all of the deep complexity of Jenny. It just wraps the whole thing up.
I did not remember that Jenny asked Forrest to marry her.
That's what I'm talking about.
I
didn't either,
don't remember that.
That's what I'm talking
But
about.
it came full circle because she was so flighty and would never settle, and you always wanted her, and then she's like, you're it for me. Run, Forrest, run.
Oh.
Telling you to do that as an adult, and that's exactly what Jenny did, is she just kept running, and you stayed. Forrest stayed.
Okay.
Do you remember Bob apologizing to us before we started shooting that scene?
Why?
I don't remember.
This is what your apology was. Okay, I'm gonna have to, like, get coverage. And you always say, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's your favorite thing?
my favorite
Watching
thing
him
of,
do me.
it's my favorite thing of all time. Do the hands, though.
One of these days,
Give me the hands.
One of these days, you're gonna say, hey, can you knock that off?
No, go ahead, Tom. Just keep doing it.
That's all I have to say about that.
This is how I remember it. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was no lunch period for you or Tom ever. They were always out with a camera, getting Forrest running.
The classic line was, that's too bad, Tom, because you got a load of running you have to do today. When we shot the football stuff.
And he comes to me in the morning with a tea and lemon going, Bob, I'm really sick. I'm really sick.
I caught the flu shooting the New Year's Eve scene with Gary in the bar. I sat there with him on a late Friday night and I said, there is something in the back of my throat and I'm going to have the flu by Monday. And I sure as hell did. Well, that's too bad because you got a load of running you got to do today. And that's what I did.
Here he is, Forrest Gump, right here. Forrest Gump, John Lennon.
That's you playing with time.
Playing
in
with time
reality.
and historic reality. And,
It's irony.
Of course it is.
I mean, these critics who don't like Forrest Gump, they don't understand irony.
No.
Dick Cavett is the real Dick Cavett.
Yeah.
We put you where Yoko was sitting because
Wow.
and then we rebuilt the set.
Yeah, it was the exact
The
Dick
exact same
Cavett
set, right? And then we pasted it all together.
And you had a guy. You always had an actor there.
There was a stand in there doing the John Lennon lines, which we split out and then put the real John in.
Part of it, all of these movies with Bob, part of it is like, really? We're going to recreate the Dick Cavett set down to the perfect integrate and get Dick Cavett?
Hard to imagine.
Blows me away, the thought that goes into that.
Well, the process of that was that I had two magnificent PAs working for me. I just sent them out to find and collect every bit of archival news footage. And then Eric and I wrote those moments into the script.
We sure got you straightened out, didn't we, boy?
I remember that first draft that Eric Roth wrote on Gump. It was like 179 pages. Eric had all sorts of angels flying up and dreamscapes. And
including Curious George jumping around. Curious George was a cartoon monkey on Forrest's shoulder talking to him.
Oh.
So they said, get that guy who did Roger Rabbit. And I read the script and I said, I love this, but that monkey's got to go.
I thought it was a rights thing that you weren't allowed to use.
Oh, no, because we have the book in it's in the movie.
we were in South Carolina and we had a month or so before we actually started shooting. And you did this kind of thing that we've done on every movie now that was brand new to me. We just sat around and talked philosophically about what the movie was. Sally was there, Michael T. was there, you were there, Gary was there, Eric was there. And we just talked about scenes we weren't even in. Well, you know, when you do that, and Sally's there talking about it. That was where the origination of the red dot, that was the first conversation of that. Explain what that red dot means.
The red dot is the point of the scene. And all the scenes have to have a red dot that ultimately become the red dot of the movie. And if we can't find the red dot in the scene, then that scene generally gets cut out because you don't need it for anything.
Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest.
You never know what you're gonna get.
I start acting out the movie, and then someone says, why am I saying that line?
Yeah.
That'll happen.
Right.
And then we talk about that. And if I don't have an answer, I have to look at the writer and say, well, why is that line in here, right? I should have an answer for every question as a director.
Stop putting all that pressure on yourself.
No,
I
I think
don't
I
agree
should.
with that he has to always have the answer.
Yeah.
Because
I
you're
think-
not an actor.
No.
So we're going to come up with different things.
Well, if someone on the crew comes to me and says, what color should that door be?
You have to know
Then
the
I,
answer to
well,
that.
if I
Absolutely.
don't know, then I have to figure out why I don't know.
God, what's your sole purpose in this army?
To do whatever you tell me, drill sergeant.
God damn it, Gump! You're a goddamn genius.
In these meetings, you would say this thing. When Forrest is running across the country, I think a guy should pull up and then he's got like a motorcycle with a sidecar on it. And I said something like, what's the point of a guy in a motorcycle and a sidecar? And you said, I just think sidecars are funny.
Yeah, we have conversations like that.
Yeah.
It didn't end up in the movie.
No, it didn't.
We couldn't figure out where to put it, right?
The big thing, I think, was when Gary Sinise said, you cannot have Vietnam in this movie and treat it like buck privates with Abbott and Costello. And that became this huge shift from what Eric wrote,
Oh, yeah.
what we were imagining, and the way it paid off, because Vietnam ended up, I think, being a lot of time the heart and soul of the movie's examination of American history.
Then Bubba said something I won't ever forget.
I want to go home.
You've made 4 movies with Bob, I made 5 movies with Bob. I view them as different moments of the same long conversation. All movies are finite, that's true, but we brought all the countenance of the first time we worked together into the next time that we worked together. And there's some version of Jenny in The Queen and Beowulf, and there's some version of Forrest in Chuck on that island all by himself. Somebody wrestling with the common sense of the moment. We get all the way to here, and like the moment where a young man is saying, we are kids, and we are going to have a baby. There is no greater divide, I think, in anybody's life than not being a parent and then being a parent. It is a Rubicon that is crossed. And in all of these movies, our characters and the theme that you want to examine are about that same kind of Rubicon.
Time sure does fly, doesn't it?
Sure does.
This is the Bob of it all. This other type of cinematic storytelling DNA, despite the studio saying,
What I
this ain't
love-
gonna work, this ain't gonna work.
That you've always done is, I believe it. I'm going for it. Don't know if anybody else will go for it, but I'm gonna do it. I'm like, yes, just go with your heart. That's
all you can
always
do.
do.
I will miss you, Forrest.